So, madam, you start.
So, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Yes,
Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. A very warm good morning to one and all. I am Sumaya Nes, Nodal Officer of the Electoral Literacy Club, Nitte team to the University, here to welcome you all to the great occasion while Indian democracy is marching ahead in its 75th year on the strengths of inclusiveness and diversity. It's my pleasure to get this opportunity to welcome you all on this guest lecture. I welcome today's chief guest, Dr. Rajbir Singh Dalal, Professor, Department of Public Administration, Chaudhary Devi Lal University, Sirsa, Haryana, who will give a guest lecture on khap panchayats and democratic traditions in Haryana. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I welcome Dr. Sriniketan, Director, Technical Research and Nitte deemed to be University, who deliver our opening remarks for today's program. I welcome you, sir. I welcome all the staff and students who joined us on this occasion. Welcome you all. Now, I request our Director, Technical Research, Nitte deemed to be University, Dr. Sriniketan, to deliver the opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning to all of you present for this nice occasion. First of all, I must thank the UGC. Today, UGC is organizing these special lectures in select universities in India to celebrate Indian democratic traditions as we celebrate 75 years of glorious past of Indian independence. And as all of you know, India is the mother of democracy. And I'm very happy Nitte deemed University has been selected by UGC to conduct today's special lecture. First of all, my sincere thanks to the chairman, secretary, and senior officials of UGC for selecting Nitte deemed University to organize this special event. We have with us Professor Dr. Rajbir Singh Dalal, Professor of Chaudhary Devi Lal University of Haryana, Sirsa. He will be talking today on khap panchayats and democratic traditions in Haryana. On behalf of the Nitte deemed University, I take pleasure in welcoming him and thank him for accepting our invitation to talk to us today on this important occasion. Thank you very much, sir. As all of you know, this Nitte deemed University is in the forefront organizing several activities throughout this year as India is celebrating this 75 years of glorious past. As Abraham Lincoln's quote is always referred for democracy, democracy is a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And this is very much true in the case of India. In India, democracy is belonging to the citizens. In our thing, every citizen of India takes part in the decision-making process, either directly or indirectly through electoral representatives. We together must be happy today that during the last 7 decades of glorious past of Indian independence, I should say we have performed reasonably well. Somewhere we have done exceedingly well, somewhere we have to improve. But overall, I must be proud as an Indian that we have performed reasonably well. Of course, there are many challenges we have crossed over this journey, maybe overpopulation, poverty, the divide between the rich and the poor, sanitation, corruption, illiteracy, we see today also communal violence, terrorism, economic reforms, good governance in states, voter turnout in urban areas, relationship with foreign countries have improved, human rights, we talk about sustainable development, we talk about implementation of several welfare schemes, media role, judicial reforms. In each of these things, Government of India of the day puts efforts. Several academic institutions take part in making some awareness programs on several of these things. Fortunately, in India, we have adopted a system of representative parliamentary system, parliamentary democracy. In a democracy, all of us should know people are their own masters. And therefore, there is a responsibility of each and every citizen to take part in this democracy if it has to succeed. Although our parliament has a multiple roles, some people think that parliament is only for making law. It is not so. It has got a political role, financial role. It has got administrative work, right to information, integration, and several such kind of roles are there for the parliament. Overall, it should have some leadership role for the states to exhibit that how the country can flourish and progress. Now, coming to the last statement of mine, there are many challenges for India because the parliament discusses all these challenges. Unfortunately, I should say, 1/5 of the parliament members face criminal charges. And this has to change. This can change only with our own voters and citizens. And this must change immediately. And the responsibility lies with both national political parties as well as Indian citizens. And we must educate our electorate that they have the right given to them to elect their own representatives to represent them. And therefore, they must come and vote. Especially today, we see in the urban area, voter turnout is 30%, 40%. This has to change. Very important. The second one, I must say, the role of media is very important. And they are only on what we call breaking news and other things, but more important, the education of the voter must be very important in this. And the last one, I will say, the literacy rate has to improve. We must work on primary education. We have got new education policy, and all our universities are working towards this new concept given by Kasturirangan committee. All the higher education institutions are working towards that. And at the end, we should have pride. India has got multiple diversity. The unity and diversity is only existing in this country. Culture, education, the kind of poor and the rich, the kind of natural resources what we have, we should take pride in this unity and diversity. Finally, we must be also proud of our Indian Constitution. Of course, there are many amendments have come. Indian Constitution is old and it is rich, and it is now helping us to solve many of our problems. Finally, I am fortunate to be an Indian. Let us all feel that every citizen of India should feel proud that they are Indians, and therefore we are living in India. Living in India, the mother of democracy, we all should work for the progress of this country. I once again welcome Professor Dr. Rajveer Singh Dalal, Professor of Chaudhry Devilal University, Haryana. Sir, on behalf of the university, I welcome you to this special lecture. I thank the UGC for giving this opportunity. I think today is an occasion that Professor will talk to us about how panchayats work, how the democratic traditions work there, so that we can take clue from such things and march forward in this country. Thank you very much.
So we have our own YouTube channel, and more than 300 students are watching through this YouTube channel. So now I request our today's guest, Dr. Rajveer Singh Dalal, to address the gathering. Thank you, sir. With you.
Thank you, Madam Suma, the organizer of this program, organized by the Electoral Literacy Unit Club of Nitte University, Dean Research, Professor Dr. G. Sri Niketan Sahab, and Registrar of the University, Professor Harsh Halahali ji. I am really thankful to you to give me the opportunity to speak on a very relevant and pertinent topic, which has been suggested by the UGC. Because before going in the details of this paper, we should just as our Dean Research has, Director Research has pointed out that we are in the phase of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of our independence. We have just completed and celebrating it. Generally, most of the people have the perception that democracy in modern time is a legacy of the Britishers to the world, particularly the parliamentary democracy, if we talk about that. Starting from Magna Carta of 1215, followed by the Bill of Petitions or Puritan revolutions, we can say, and then glorious revolution of 1688. Then American freedom movement of Declaration of Independence of America, we can say it of 1776, and then French Revolution of 1789. These are the we can say events of the modern world history from where the democracy emanates or come into existence in the modern world. But if we talk about that of our Indian history, or particularly that of the political history, we found that India had the genesis of democracy even in the we can say very ancient time. Our religious scriptures, maybe the Mahabharata, Ramayana, or our Puranas, or other scripts written by maybe written by Manu Maharaj or other great scholars, including that of the Arthashastra of Kautilya. What we found there? We found that the king has been assigned a number of duties in the form of dharma. Dharma, that was not a religion in this sense, what we today perceived. Dharma means the implementation of or enforcement of the rule of law by the king. All the decisions of the king or the rulers, whosoever maybe an individual, maybe a group of individuals, or that may be a republican form of government. Dharma means the rulers are accountable, responsible to the people, to the subjects on whom they are ruling. So this sense of we can say that was prevailing in Indian script. Even the autocrat rulers, they are also bound to abide by these religious dictates or dharma dictates. In modern times, we have written constitutions, and we are fortunate enough, as our director research has recently pointed out, that we are a republican country having a written constitutions. And 26th November, just 2-3 days before, we have celebrated a Constitution Day, because on 26th November 1949, our constitutions was prepared by all ways and means. It was ready for implementation, and some we can say part or sections of this act were also enforced on that very day. चार हमारे संविधान के, if we talk about that of the 4 part, these were implemented on this day, and the rest of the constitution was implemented from 26 January 1950, just to commemorate the historic day of our declarations of freedom at the Ravi rivers by the Indian National Congress at that point of time. So, dear participants, our main motive of this lecture, it is just the part of a series. Recently, on 24th November, our Honorable Minister of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, we can say Sri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, he inaugurated a book, and the title of the book is that India, the mother of democracy. Bharatam लोकतंत्र से जननी, भारत लोकतंत्र की जननी है. Our honorable Prime Minister Sri Modi ji has also repeatedly pointed out it even in UN General Assembly that we have no new trends of democracy. India has the democratic trends in its ancient history, or we are the mother of democracies. It is the emphasis of the this lecture. And khap panchayats, which is a very small segment by this lecture, I just like to point out why the khaps have contributed and how they have contributed in the democratic traditions of India. So first of all, we just see what are the khaps, what is the significance of the khap, how the khap promoted, preserved, or protected their democratic traditions. What are the allegations of the khaps in the present time, particularly in the first decade of the new millennium? If you see, due to one or two incidents that happened, because these khaps, their main objective is just to ensure that the rules, regulations which are formed by these social bodies that should pertain in a particular area, or the area to ensure that the social order, brotherhood, fraternity, or communal harmony should be protected and promoted therein. The functioning of these khap panchayats is that of the democratic one. How that is, we have to see it. So before proceeding further, I just want to introduce the theme of the khap. What are the khaps? Khaps are the social organizations. These are social bodies which are based either on region, or can say area based, or these are based on the gotra. Gotra are just the subcaste, because in Indian Hindu society we have both endogamy as well as exogamic system. Endogamy means we generally promote that the marriage should be within the caste. Exogamy means within the caste there are the gotras, and there are some prohibitions or preventions that one cannot go in marital status within the gotra, or within the we can say khap areas which have been identified by the khap, which are generally called as the bhaichara panchayats. Their main motive is to promote the bhaichara, communal harmony, fraternity among the peoples, and they also preserve and protect their rights. So just proceeds further. So after that, what are the main objectives of this paper? The main objectives of this paper are just to highlight the importance of the khap in Indian history, particularly in our democratic history, we can say, and what are the democratic traditions, how these bodies are working, their way of or work style of working, what it is. I think क्या हो गया? हाँ, yeah, ठीक. So after that, what are the main challenges before these khaps? How these khaps have been pursued by the different peoples or even media or society at different intervals? And after that, what are the challenges to these khaps, and how these challenges can be, we can say, overcome, or can be controlled by some remedial steps. So after moving towards the, if we see what are the khaps and their definition or the concepts, so khap have been identified as the social institutions or the organizations which are either based on the gotra, which is just a subcaste, or can say within a colon, or the area base. there are three different types of khaps which generally prevail. Single gotra panchayat, khap panchayats. Single gotra means particularly the northern Indian society and the Jat community as well as Gujar communities, they have some khap panchayats based on the gotra. Single gotra means here the spread of the gotra may be a number of villages or a particular regions, but these khaps are based on a single gotra. That may be Dalal, just like that of mine. That may be the Shoran khap. That may be the Elhawat khap. That may be the Malik or Gatwala khap, and Sangwan khap. So these are the khaps based on single gotra. Then there are some khaps which comprises of more than one gotra. Here these khap try to organize themselves. जैसे there are some gotra which are on a upper level, have some feeling fraternity or some bhaicharas, or they have the roti beti nata, we can say it, the relations of the bread and bride. Means these people can take the food, or they can use the drinking habitats with that particular regions, and simultaneously they can marry their childrens only within that particular area. The other khaps are those of we can say uh, comprises of more than one gotra, as well as these are also comprising of different castes. So these are called Sarv Khap panchayats. Prominent among these region-based panchayats, if we talk Sarv Khap panchayats, what are these? Sarv Khap panchayats comprises of the all gotra and all regions of a particular region. जैसे हरियाणा, it may be Haryana, it may be India, all India level khap panchayat. Otherwise, if we see that within the Indian subcontinent, these khaps have a wide spread, including from we can say the northern part to the southern part. These have, but with different names. Due to a particular regions, their name may vary. What is the composition? If we see the composition of the khap panchayats, as I have initially pointed out, these are either based on the kalan, gotra, or region, or sometimes both. The smallest unit of this khap panchayat is the village. And within the village, there are the lowest unit is that of a family. When few families they go together, so it formulate a thola. Thola means the forefathers of those particular families are the same, so they are responsible. Thola Chaudhary, he or she will control the entire or take the responsibility of all the families working within his control. Then some tholas they formulate panna. Panna means it is a wider component because the village has been divided into one, sometimes two or three panna, or sometimes even more also, where the population is more. And the pannas formulate the village. The village is the basic unit of the khap. Sometimes smaller khap, these are spread up to 1 to 4 villages, and sometimes even up to 100 villages they can separate. The prominent khap panchayats which are on area based are that of Mahem Chobisi. It comprises of 24 villages. इसी तरह लोहारू बावनी, it comprises of 52 villages of Loharu Tehsil of district Bhiwani. Simultaneously, Bawal Chaurasi, it comprises of 84 villages of Bawal Tehsil of Rewari district. So these are the khaps which are based on area. Simultaneously, around the Delhi or even in Alwar district of Rajasthan, Mewat district of Haryana, there are some khaps known as the Mewat khap. Different khaps have been identified or named by different names. But if we talk about their working, how these khap, after going through these different khaps, maybe based on a single gotra, maybe based on two or more gotra, or maybe based on region basis, we have to see how these khap works. Whenever there is any issue, working of the khap, if there is any issue concerned with the social cause, maybe that of individual or maybe that of the community. ठीक है, social issue, economic issue, political, or particularly that of the conflict, we can say of judicial nature, these are taken up by these khaps. Khap Chaudhary, who are the head of their khaps, they are generally based on a hereditary basis, but that hereditary base is also requires the acknowledgement, or we can say the consent of the khap followers. For that they organize. Whenever any khap chaudhary has take in the charge, after the generally after the death of the previous one, so that is widely matlab, approved by the stakeholders of that community. And they gathered in a journal assembly and they recognize his or her presence. So what sort of these khap leaders are, their nature, or we can say it is expected they should be men of high integrity. And they are known for their justice, their reason, their logic, and impartiality above all. So whatever the issue comes to the khap, it is generally referred to the khap chaudhary. He or she tries to resolve it at his or her own level. When he or she fails to do so, generally because these khaps are, uh, if we just go in the last 5 or 10 years, before that these are headed by the men. So that's why these have also been criticized only on this ground that the male hegemony is there. These are dictated female or gender aspect that is not taken into consideration. But recently, these are widely participated as well as represented by the women. So then the issue is referred to the Khaptotri and he or she try to resolve it at his or her own level. But when he or she fails to resolve that issue, then it is referred to the khap and a journal assembly, जिसको आप हम कह सकते हैं आम सभा, है, that will be called, and all the delegates from the individual, we can say village or from the thola, they represent it, so that the decision, whatever that may be taken, the we can say the best thing in the COP working, how they are democratic. So that is, I am just going to point out here that whenever the issue is taken in the COP assembly or sabha, so it has been widely discussed, deliberated by all the members, both in favor as well as against. Both the party petitioners as well as respondent, they plead their case, and ultimately 5 or 4 or 5, generally 5 people, they are assigned the uh, duty to reach out the conclusion ki what should be the final result or outcome of this assembly. What sort of the issues are generally taken up, that may be of the property issue, that may be of generally the issues which are concerned with that of the marital aspects, maybe of social or cultural aspects, to preserve, protect, or promote their our traditions, customs, conventions. Generally, CAPS also take up the issues nowadays which are of reformative natures, because with the passage of times in even modern time there are some deterioration may be regarding of the rising expenses on marriages, rising demand of dowry, or maybe other gender or social issues. Even environmental issues are also taken up sometimes in the CAP. sometimes the khap stand up in favor or against of the any political party or the existing regime, political regime. And during we, these khap have been widely acknowledged during the period of 6th century AD. Harshvardhana himself, the king of the Kannauj, he widely accepted or recognized their existence. Even during the Sultanate period, we can say, or even Mughal period or Britishers' time, colonial rulers, these khap have worked without any disturbance, because political regimes, whatever that may be, they hardly try to intervene in their working, and their main motive is to impart justice to the stakeholders or the peoples or the subject, through a cumulative or participatory democratic process. What that process is, that has been just I pointed out कि the issue is take up in the General Assembly of the khap, and the khap chaudhary or the we can say the leaders, they decide it uh, by a consensus method, because both the parties were persuaded regarding the facts and the reality. If the decision of the khap is announced once, then it is binding on all, whosoever are within the jurisdiction of that khap. So if anyone again uh, resist to abide by or deny to abide by, then the khaps also impose the penalty. Penalty in the sense of that may be social sanctions or maybe in form of some penalty. Uh, Financial liability may also be put there, or sometimes they even impose the penalty of kodi. Kodi means just no, it is a penniless person. It is assumed that the uh, uh, party concerned is penniless. That's why impose him. That is taken more serious than even that the imposition of financial penalty. कोड़ी का दंड बोलते थे, punishment of कोड़ी इसको बोल, that is called there. So these khaps, how the democratic traditions are there. If we see in the modern time, our constitution making process is to a greater extent different from that of the Western systems, because our constituent assembly or leader of our representative of our constituent assembly, they are well aware of this fact that the Constitution of India should be based on our own requirement, our needs, our own vision and mission. That's why we did not follow the majority decision system, which generally prevailed in the Western or American systems of democracy. Okay? We did not make any decision in the Constitution on the ground of 51 or 49 ratio. We can say that 51 are accepting this aspect, or that's why majority is there to make such decisions. We try to take every decision by the method of consensus, sarvasambati जिसको बोलते हैं. We try to appease or persuade every individual so that the constitution should be everlasting in impact. It should be sustainable. And it can we can say inculcate the values, or can encompass in itself the feelings, emotions, or the views of each and every members therein. The other method which we adopted in constitution making here is that of the accommodation. Accommodations means we try to accommodate different systems prevailing in different countries as per our requirement. We though we have good relations with Britain and we adopted the parliamentary system from there, but we did not adopted the we can say constitutional monarchy system from the Britain. Rather, we adopted it from the USA, and India became a republic. Simultaneously, regarding the powers of the Supreme Courts and its relation with that of the Parliament, we try to make a different set of balance there. Simultaneously, if we see that of our federal structure, we are following British model, we are also following US model, but our federal system is somehow ever near to that of the Canadian system, where the union government has been given more powers as compared to the states. So all these are, the Constituent Assembly could not keep itself aloof from our traditions, our democratic traditions, on every issue except the language. Language issue, as we know, that it was the last one to be resolved. But here again, we try to make the consensus. Otherwise, all the decisions were made in the Parliament, Constituent Assembly, by the process of consensus and accommodation, and the similar system prevails in the CAPs at that point of time. All the decisions of the CAP, these are taken by taking into consideration all the arguments, or we can say aspects of the contending parties, and then the CAP take its decisions, keeping in view its socio-cultural ethos, values, norms, as well as our principles of religions or dharma that is prevailing at that point of time. So these CAP, what I want to say here, that their working was not only democratic, but they resolved the grievances on a very economic eh, and quick manner also, by which we or our society that um, address its grievances without rushing to the courts or other. Hardly any issue which is referred to the CAP that remained unresolved, and that was taken up at that point of time to the courts. Courts means that is not required ki these courts are of the present day, that was not referred to the feuds, or we can say that of the king or the emperor of that time. In rare cases, these were referred. Otherwise, these bodies resolve their grievances at that time. By this mean, we can say that these khap panchayats are uh, uh, promoting or playing a very important role in preserving our rich heritage of Indian culture, and they are they're democratic in their functioning, democratic in their working. So thus we can say that, and even our honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has also a number of times pointed out the need or importance or relevance of these khap panchayats. We need to rejuvenate these bodies, so that today what we are facing, that almost 5 crore cases are pending in different courts, and courts are overburdened, and these petty issues, majority of the cases are on just within the family disputes, and they may be regarding the property, maybe of marriage and divorce, or dowry, or such other issues, may sometimes based on we can say uh, uh, clash between the communities or the caste. So these here the CAPs, the decision of the court are again challenged in the superior court or even in the Supreme Court. But and after that also the parties are not satisfied. But these CAP try to convince, appease both the parties. Their decision, because these decisions are more based on persuasion. That's why these no one was the loser generally in such type of cases, because the parties they got agree, and accordingly this decision they take. Okay? So thus it was the modus operandi of this khap, and once the decision was pronounced, then it was mandatory or binding on all of the people. or the stakeholders remain within that jurisdiction. So that, if we proceed further, working after seeing the working of these CAPs, we have to see what are the uh, perception of the society regarding the CAP. Different people have different perceptions, and as I have pointed out, that due to 2 or 3 decisions in the first decade of the new millennium, these CAP have been widely criticized by the media. Even the court has also called, yeah, dubbed these khap panchayats as the traditional or old bodies based on non-democratic patterns. But uh, as we see, most of the political party, hardly any political party which recognize or which knows the relevance or significance of these khap and their working, they criticize these bodies. Rather, they consider that these are playing a vital role in mobilization of the society, because initially our democracy was that of the electoral one, and how we shifted from electoral democracy to a participatory democracy. Participatory democracy means the democracy in which the stakeholders, they play a vital role in the governance, in the decision making process, in the administering of the country or the state. But in electoral democracy, our main focus generally remain confined to the election of our representative. As and when the representative are elected, they are free to take the decision for the next election. But these khap panchayats are more democratic and participatory in the sense, because they take the stakeholders into the within the decision making process, and after that they made the decisions. Yeah, these made the decisions. So that's why these khap has been uh, pursued by, as I pointed out, different people. Some called it that they are on the hereditary basis, not elected one. Women are under or just marginalized. Hardly there is any representation. But if we see in the present situations, as you have seen, all of us, that during the farm agitations, farmers made agitations against the 3 bills passed by the Indian Parliament, or union government, and they have been later on recalled. So these are widely participated by the women's also there. So these, generally any issue which is concerned with the peasantry or the uh, farms or rural areas, these are taken up by these CAFs. Even during the pandemic period also, some CAFs play vital roles. So it is the perception of different peoples of the society, who pursued them in what way. So that's why some have criticized the CAP for their working. Some appreciate them for their working, because they are reducing the burden of the court, they are reducing the burden of the governments, and rather maintaining or promoting the social harmony and brotherhood among the society, preserving our society, or maintaining our social order in a better way by their social control. So these are the different perception of the society regarding it. Then what one more perception is that there, when we have elected bodies under PRI system, Panchayati Raj institutions, after 73rd constitutional amendment, there is no need of such society. But if we see, there is also again a difference between those are the political bodies, these are the social one, these protect and promote the social issues, and the elected bodies, they are supposed to administer or run the administration of local government in the rural areas as per our constitutions. One more criticism or perception of the people regarding the khap panchayat is that they have no legal, statutory or constitutional basis. In spite of that, they are working, they are dictating the people, they are dictating the people what to do and what not to do. So these may be the criticism in a modern liberal democracy. But if we see what is the overall contribution of these khap panchayats, so we can say that these khap panchayats have contributed a lot to preserving, promoting, or protecting our uh, ancient cultures, we can say our social ethos, values, norms, as well as to maintain social harmony, to maintain social control and social order. Today's what if we see the data of the National Crime Record Bureau and CRB, the maximum cases, what sort of cases are those? Very petty cases, and that of maybe rape, maybe of gender discrimination, maybe that of crime or pet, very small or pet issue. So these khap control such issues at their own level. That's why our honorable prime minister has emphasized that we need to rejuvenate these institutions. Funny. Sorry. So after that, uh, uh, what we see the utility, matlab, their utility is that they plays a vital role in controlling the crime in the rural area, deciding the people's norms, their marital and other relations, how and where they can do and what they are not supposed to do, as well as sometimes even protesting their legitimate rights against the regime or the rulers of the whosoever that may be. During freedom movements, these khap have also played a vital role by supporting the Congress leadership for freedom. Or after that, in nutshell, criticism are also there. What the criticism is that a constant of these khap panchayats, that we can point out that they are lacking a sort of legal or statutory or constitutional sanctions, but they have the social sanctions. Okay. Secondly, these are also be blamed on this ground that these bodies lack of gender representations, particularly women representation is lesser in these bodies. So, but if we see in modern times, they are. Another um, criticism is regarding that they are orthodox, or these are their dictates are non-democratic, or their decisions are non-democratic, arbitrary, eh, or we can that of self-styled. These are also the allegations of these khap panchayats. But in nutshell, if we say that their contribution is far more than that of their criticism or their limitations. You can accept what I have pointed out, that two or three cases which were noted, Manoj, Babli, and one or two cases which are married within the Gotra or within the restricted, prohibited domain of the khap. These were rejected by these panchayats. Okay? Otherwise, most of their decisions are either maybe on environmental issues, maybe on social issues, social reforms, maybe regarding the limitation on expenses during the cremations, during the marriage, or during the other social gatherings. These have been decided by the CAP, and these are widely followed in the northern India, particularly in their agency. So, in this sense, we can say these khap panchayats have the democratic tradition not only in the ancient or medieval period, but also in the present time. They have played a vital role in converting our electoral democracy to the participatory one. They engage the peoples to the systems. ठीक है तो and their decision making is based on consensus and accommodation process. सर्वसम्मति से ये अपने निर्णय लेते हैं and try to impose or implement these on their followers, अपने अनुयायियों के ऊपर उनको लागू करने का. तो with this I think we should leave a good space for the discussions also, so that the other participants can also put up their queries or we can say observations or questions regarding it. So with this I once again thanks the organizers, Nitte deemed university, as well as the Electoral Literacy Club, particularly for organizing this event on a very pertinent issue when we are just and completing 75 years of our independence. So as our honorable director Saab has also pointed out, that we should proud on our rich democratic traditions, or we should be proud that we are the Indians. Okay? And we should not blindly follow each and everything from the West. So with this, I thanks the organizers for this, and leave the house open for any observations, query or questions. Hello.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor, for your nice lecture. It was very interesting. You are talking about this past culture that khap panchayats have established, but your suggestion is well taken that they should be more democratic, because a lot of discussions are happening in the media and in the political circle, how these khap panchayats are playing their role. My observation in the south, especially from Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, if you see, different names are there. You call it in the north khap panchayat. In fact, for here in Dharmasthala, Dharmadhikari, they used to come and villagers will tell their problems, and he will tell, okay, this fellow has done, you put for the god something, and that is a punishment. They used to accept. In fact, in my place where I'm now staying, Mangalore, the landlords used to conduct the court. And landlords of the local region, they will conduct this kind of a small court where people can come and give their grievances, and it will be immediately redressed. But today, in the present context, many leaders have emerged, many political things are there, many cultural things are there. That is why this kind of panchayat, although I feel immediate redressal of the grievance will happen, immediate punishment may be given. But today, in the light of the kind of thing, one issue you have raised is the intercaste marriages and the kind of horror killings, what is happening. And that is a very disturbing trend where these kind of panchayats take some decisions. And I can go on tell examples where it has become more of political in nature, more biased decisions are happening in these village panchayats. In fact, in Tamil Nadu are some of the panchayats where women were empowered to become members of the local panchayat and all. It is their husbands are running the show, not the women. So maybe we have long innings. We have to educate our women. We have to educate our people. If we can realize our past culture, what you said, to retain this kind of khap panchayat where it is a traditional culture, where these kind of thing panchayats have worked well. I think we have to go back and educate our people. Once again, thank you. I request now Sashi or Suma to take over and then give the formal vote of thanks if there are no more questions.
Yes. I request Suchitra. Suchitra, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you please do your vote of thanks?
Okay. Anybody has any questions? If they can place in the chat box. So, am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Good morning, good afternoon to all. I am Venisha Matthias, Electoral Club Representative Nuins. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a responding success. I thank Vice Chancellor Nitte University Professor Dr. Satish Kumar Bandari for valuable guidance and support to conduct this program. First and foremost, I thank Professor Dr. G. Sriniketan Sir, Director Technical Research, Nitte deemed to be University, for open remarks. We are grateful to Professor Dr. Rajbir Singh Dalal, Department of Public Administration, Chaudhry Devi Lal University, Sirsa, for accepting today's invitation and being as resource person. I also thank Professor Dr. Harsha Halhali, Registered Nitte deemed to be University. I also thank Suma NS, Nodal Officer, Electoral Literacy Club Nitte deemed to be University.
Thank
My
you.
heartfelt thanks to all the coordinators, faculty and students for attending this wonderful program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Is there any program of national anthem? Or should we leave?
From here only.
Shashi?
Yes.
So I think there is no other thing. Thank you very much.
Okay, okay,
From
sir. Thanks.